Ground here, and I reached out to Joe at Monty's in Louisville and got some Humi-TIll to put on here to try to break these stalks down. The old saying is that a lot of your potash is in your stalks, so I'm trying to speed up the rotting or the getting rid of these stalks for my soybean crop next year. So
and this was harvested the date you harvested?
I'd say it was harvested about 3 weeks ago.
And then the application?
And the application of Humi-TIll was about 10 days, 2 weeks ago.
And talk to me a little bit about the application. You didn't just put Humi-TIll in, you had some additives. What other products were you using?
We used the Humi-TIll at a gallon per acre, and then we used 3 gallons of nitrogen, being 28%, and then we also put about 2 quarts of AgroSweet.
And so one of the things about the Humi-TIll product is it already contains the MLC or the humic, so you didn't have to add that back in, and then you added the nitrogen and AgroSweet to help kind of spur that biology activity so that we could see some results. And we're here 10 to 12 days after application, you said, and you've already noticed from a clean-cut combine versus what it looked like here with the white tops and, you know, clean-cut combine, you're seeing some some black, maybe already seeing some decomposition where we actually got some foliar activity here.
Can you see the deterioration there, Joe? That's working pretty fast.
Yeah. And we're also seeing here, because you've been, I mean, up until today when it's a little cooler, but you got some moisture after application too, right?
Right.
And you got a little bit of rain, and we're already seeing some of this fodder because, like you said, how much P&K do you have in this part of the corn plant that didn't go out with the combine, and how do we recycle that back into our zone to add to next year's crop?
Well, with prices this year of P&K, I think farmers are going to have to keep all they can on the ground here and get it back into the soil.
And that's one of the things, though, even just P&K and the opportunity, this is a consistent NCGA place in a high-yield soybean. Just talk about those higher yields, bigger plants, more residue, just residue management, being a no-tiller.
And that's one thing we see with the MAC program. We do feed our corn pretty hard during the season, and this had it had a 2x2, and then it had 2 different wide drop applications, and they are full season hybrids, so most of these hybrids will get 10 to 12 foot tall. So we do have a lot of residue left over, and that's what we're trying to do here with the Humi-TIll.
Absolutely. And then also when you're a no-tiller, you get the soil structure the way you want it. The last thing you want to come do is disturb that just to try to bury some corn residue. So if we can break it down from the top down and release some of that. Some of the advantages, so you're working a good Monty's program on the NCGA you mentioned in the planter and the wide drops. You're taking advantage of our blended products, aren't you? Talk to me a little bit about how the Monty's product is received on your farm.
Okay, well, we're within 30 miles of the Monty's plant, so we're getting our 2x2 all pre-mixed, and so we're putting the 924-3, the 420, some of the micronutrients in there too,
and then
all the micronutrients, and it's mixed to put 15 gallon per acre through the 2x2. Then we add 15 gallon of nitrogen to that. So we are putting 30 gallon down with the planter.
And on site, you're adding that nitrogen. And when you're a guy that's trying to get a lot done with few amount of people as possible, that's an added value.
Exactly.
And those products have mixed well together and worked through the planter all right.
We're getting those products delivered about 3 weeks in front of the planter, and I've not noticed any residuals in the tanks. They're mixing real well, and it's just a whole lot faster. Back when I was mixing out of shuttles, to mix up 3,000 gallon was taking about 2 hours. So if I'm losing or gaining time there, it's very beneficial to me.
The other thing that we talk about, the importance of these NCGAs, is picking the right day to plant.
Right.
Are you pretty particular on soil temperature and kind of 10-day forecast when you're actually planting and planting these NCGAs?
Good thought process there. We're basically trying to get this planted. We don't try to go out real early with our NCGA. We try to, actually it's probably the last week in April, first week in May.
Okay.
I think that's sort of been a guideline for my highest yields over the years. Yeah, early corn, mid-April corn may do a little bit better, but is your population that your stand going to be as even coming out of the ground on those cold temperatures? I doubt it. So that's what we're trying to do is catch the optimum early planting, but soil moisture being, and then we don't like to go out if there's next week there's 5 or 6 inches of rain forecasted.
And that hopefully by adding the Humi-TIll or that decomposition pass here might allow you a wider planting window. If we can get some of this residue broke down, you might heat up that soil a little faster in the spring.
We will run a Salford over some of these stalks for planting beans early. I think that gives the beans just a little bit of a, if there's any trash that there is left, I think that Salford spreads it out and warms the soil up a little bit more.
And that'll be one of the really interesting things as we deteriorate the insides of these stalks and we start breaking this thing down from the growth up, and you start running that sulfur. It'll be interesting to see how much blow up or how much residue management. You can really size that residue a lot more versus, I mean, you got really strong, these stalks are going to take a little while, and so you can already see as we start breaking these down, because we were out with a farmer earlier, and that's the neat thing about the Humi-TIll bacteria is it breaks down this stuff. It's what disappears, hollows these things out, so when you slice through them next spring, they'll just size that residue, and you can already see some of that activity.
And like I said, that's happening pretty fast, and it's not been quite as warm since I've applied it. It's a shame I didn't get it put on 10 days, 2 weeks earlier, right when this was harvested, but it just didn't get done.
But we also have a long time before you're going to plant. So
that's right. That's right.